Hey friends, hello, happy Wednesday. It's Lisa Hetrick. Welcome to Craft Your Joy Live, number 2 for today. Okay friends, I already went live once today and did my paper crafting video earlier today. So if you watched me earlier, you saw it there. I also had some tech issues that happened and I decided I have a fix now. I think I do. So I decided I was just going to go live again and we're just going to do a little paint and chat. I'm actually going to watercolor. So this is kind of the second fun live for the day. Totally unplanned, on the fly, testing equipment again. If you've been watching me, I see Robbie just popped in. Hi, Robbie. Yeah, you all have been hearing me talk about the saga of my tech issues, but I think I'm getting really close to like a complete resolution on everything. So anyway, so I'm going to make it worth your while, and we're going to do a little paint along. I'm actually going to draw something. I'm going to draw a flower. We're going to paint it. So I'm going to take like the next half an hour and just kind of paint and chat. If you wanted to catch today's live tutorial that's related to the card making project and the washi watercolor, that's also in here in my channel as well. That's just the last video. But this one's just going to be a little bit different. On the fly, watercoloring on the fly. So I see, hi Cherie, she got to catch on. That's great. So it's kind of cool. I don't really expect a lot of people to pop in because I totally am doing this unannounced. Hi Catherine. So yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to, like I said at the top, we're going to do a little watercolor paint and chat, and I am going to draw a flower and we are going to paint it. And yeah, we're testing tech again. Literally think I've solved the issue, and I solved it like 3 minutes after I did the last live. So let's go ahead to the overhead cam, and I'm just going to pop my face in here to just kind of talk about it. This is the card that we did on the live earlier today. Oh, great. Really? It looks like we've got a, yeah, looks like we had somebody jump into the chat, a spammer jump into the chat. Like, really? Come on. Come on. Didn't need all that today. But anyway, Michael Yo-Yo is gone. So anyway, okay, this is the card that I made earlier today. This is the washi watercolor card. So if you're interested in that tutorial, that's here on the channel for today. But right now, what we're going to do in the ongoing saga of me solving the issue with my focus, I think I've solved it. I really wanted to keep this. I think Catherine is with us. She's the one that gave me that fantastic idea to change my glass mat. Well, Catherine, I have a couple glass mats, and I have a black one from Tim Holtz, and I really did play around with that a little bit. I really wanted to keep this white one, so I'm just really trying to figure out how I can solve that issue. Okay, so we're moving ahead. So I'm just going to have a little bit of fun. So here's the supplies I'm using. They're not listed down and below in the description because, like I said, this is totally on the fly. I'm going to use some Strathmore Ready Cut watercolor. I have a pencil, and I have two, this is my porcelain palette full of, I'm pretty sure this is my Maimeri blue watercolor. And I also have a little palette of Da Vinci. This is the palette that I just used on the live earlier today. So this is like my really fun palette. I've talked about this ad nauseum. I know everybody's probably getting tired of hearing me talk about it. But I've got this one too. And we're going to see what shakes out. I'm actually like super shocked that we have some people popping in. Hi, Irma. Thanks, Catherine. So far, the focus is great. Yeah, I think I solved it. You know, technology. I am a tech junkie, friends. A super duper tech junkie. I have a lot of tech. I have a lot of different computers, tablets, different things. I am a tech junkie. So when I can't solve a tech problem, it's a problem for me. And I've been working on this one for a while, but I had this like lightning bolt of an answer, sort of an answer on the live after I did the live this morning. And I was just like, let me try it. We're going to see what happens. So hello, greetings from Greece. Hi, Rhonda. Okay, so super fun. We're just going to jump in. All right, let's get my face off and dive in here. We're just going to, I'm going to grab a slice of this 5x7 Strathmore Ready Cut watercolor. Look, I've talked about this watercolor paper a lot on this channel, I'm going to adjust my brightness a little bit. I've talked about this. This is my favorite go-to 100% cotton watercolor paper for paper crafting projects. I also like to do some really easygoing watercolor with it. So that's what we're going to do today. And I like that it's already pre-cut for me. That makes it kind of easier. So got a quick question. Sharon just asked, can you buy those palettes? Hey, Sharon, yes, this palette, actually this palette and this palette, they're available. This is a porcelain watercolor palette. I put these little felty pads. These are like the little felty pads that you put on the bottom of your chairs, like so it doesn't scratch your hardwood. So this, I put them on the bottom here so it doesn't scratch my glass mat. But this is from Meeden. You can get this on Amazon. After this live, I'll link all this stuff up for everybody because Robbie's also asking about the paper. I'll go back in this live and I'll link some of these things up for you so that you can take a peek at it. I'm obsessed with these porcelain palettes. I have so many friends, so many. Hey, everybody who's here, pop in the chat if like you guys want me to just do a live on palettes and palette options. Let me know. Got a little bit of, the sun just came out, so we got a little bit of extra light going on over there. But anyway, all right, let's get going. We're just going to paint. I'm gonna got a pencil here, and I am going to just draw something. I'm gonna draw a flower out that's kind of facing this way. So here, I'm just gonna draw in just like a shape, like a cone shape, just to kind of give me a sense of what I got going on there. Like a little cone shape that's going like this. This is just a real rough drawing. Now, normally when I do flowers, I don't draw them. I just paint them, and I draw them with my paintbrush. But I figured, hey, we're doing the second live today. Let's just try to make like a little cone flower shape. Just kind of do a little wing it thing here. So we've got this shape, and what I'm doing is, so our flower, oh, you know what, let me pull one of my fake flowers behind me. So like here's one of those fake flowers. So here's the shape of the flower kind of turned this way, and you can see some of, we even turning it more, right, like that. You can see some of it underneath. You can see the stem. That's kind of like what I'm mimicking here, this kind of shape. And I'm really just kind of rough drawing this in. You don't need like a lot of drawing experience to rough these ideas in. Look at how loosely I'm just drawing them in. You really just need to look at your shapes. So we have our shape here. We've got that cone-like shape, and then these petals come up and out. So if I come around like this and I just start drawing out like these petal shapes, like really just kind of roughing them in over top of each other, I kind of dig it. This is going to be, I don't know, maybe we'll make this like this very rudimentary looking. Maybe we'll make this a little bit like a sunflower. Just drawing some other shapes. So like you get that illusion of the cone. So see how it's like this? And we can see things here in the front, and then we can see things back here. And then we've got that inside, but we can't really see inside. We're only kind of looking at it from this perspective. This is very like super rudimentary. This is just totally roughed in. And I'll end up like erasing quite a bit of that. Let's find an eraser. I've got a little like eraser for later. So let's just dive in and chat and talk. And if you have questions, friends, there's like 13 of you here, which is crazy because I didn't expect anyone to pop in since I'm like totally randomly doing this on the fly so that I can test my focus. And it looks like I've solved my focus issue. Rhonda just shared, I would really like to know more about palettes. Excellent. I really want to do more of that kind of content too, so I think that's great. Just made a note of that. So perfect. If you guys have any questions, if anybody has any questions along the way, just pop a little Q in the chat. There aren't so many of us that I can't figure out what's going on, right, with the questions. So don't worry. Hey, Susan. Susan just got here, her first time watching. So Susan, this isn't one of my usual card making lives. I did one of those earlier today. So if you want to catch that live, there were some tech issues that I had and I solved them like really super quickly, or I think I've solved them. I'm in the middle of trying to discover that, but it looks like I have solved them. I've come back in for another live. I think what we're going to do here is I've got some of this color. This is Maimeri blue. This is one of my palettes. And this color right here is, I think, Indian yellow. I think we're going to make this a sunflower. I'm just going to paint. But so far, so good. Like, I'm digging the way the focus is. It seems to be holding a little bit better than it did before. So my brush is wet. My paper's dry. What I'm going to do is I'm getting some of that yellow color. And then I'm also over here getting some of my green gold. And what I'm trying to do, trying to be very, very conscientious of how much water is in my brush. Okay, I've talked about this before. We're going to do our little watercolor lesson. Let me find my little cheat sheet to share with you. I've talked about this before on lives, on videos, water ratios. So the more water you add to your pigment, the more of like a skim milk look and feel you're going to get to your color. This is like a 2% milk, so less water, more pigment. It's a stronger value. Whole milk is what I call whole milk, is your full strength. This is me like right here coming in full strength with color. Little bit of water on the brush, a lot of pigment. And I'm just going to come in here and I'm just kind of following the little sketch that I did. And see how I'm just kind of like adding a little bit of that in. I'm going to clean my brush and I'm going to use the paint that's there. Now this brush is a thirsty brush, so it holds a lot of water. So you see me dipping it in there and just kind of getting some of that excess water off. And now I'm just going to go in and use what I have here and just kind of move this green gold color around. Let it do its thing. My brush is still kind of a little more wet than I would like it to be. So it's giving me those wash vibes, and I don't know that I want that right now. But I've got this first layer of color kind of happening in. Really loose and free there. Let's just kind of see how that looks. Just kind of let that be. That green gold is very green goldy. I think I want to add a little bit of my darkers. I want a little bit more dark. So right now what I'm doing is a little bit of a wet into wet. So paper was still wet. There's pigment down on the page here. And I'm just kind of dropping in a little bit more of that green. And I'm going to let it do its thing. Let it do its thing. Okay, don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions. Just go ahead and let me know. I'm going to skip over this part. I'm going to move up here to my little blooms. Now, I've got a lot of this Indian yellow. I'm going to put some of it down here. I actually don't think this is Indian yellow. I think this is Hansa Yellow Light, Hansa Yellow Medium. So it's got that orangey yellow kind of look to it. Now, my paper is dry. My brush is wet, and you can see I've got a lot of pigment going here, a lot of pigment. I'm probably around this 2% kind of look, in between 2% and whole milk here. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to use the tip of my brush and then use the entire belly of the brush to mimic those petals that I drew. Okay. Question from Cherie. Question, why do you love that particular paper so much? Oh, Cherie, great question. Okay. I love lots of paper. I love 100% cotton paper. I love this paper for paper crafting projects and for these like little one-off paintings because it is 100% cotton. It's affordable, it's valuable, it's a good value, and it holds up really well to a lot of water. Hi, Susan. She said, I've seen you on Gina's and I loved your painting. Oh, very cool. Very cool. Thank you. Okay, I did that little layer. And now I'm just going in with a wet brush. There's no pigment on my brush here. And I'm just going in and I'm using what I have already painted and just kind of moving it around a little bit. And letting that be. Okay. Okay. Now, everything, this is wet. And I want to move on to some of the other petals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and dry it. I've got a little bit of a heat tool. Let's see where we are with that. Couple things I want to note is it looks like I've solved my focus issue. So that's good. And now I'm going to come back in. I'm going to come back in with this burnt sienna. I think we're making a sunflower. I think that's what I'm going for here. Got a little bit of burnt sienna, and I really want to go for somewhere between this 2% milk and this whole milk. So some water here. Really trying to get a good amount of pigment here. And I'm going to go in between. Oh, I'm going to do a little experiment. Got a lot of pigment. Now the tip of my brush, I'm going to take a little bit of that yellow on the tip and then go in between these petals. Oh, that yellow really didn't come out the way I wanted. That's okay. And just kind of, I'm going to add a little bit more of that yellow in. Sunflowers are beautiful flowers. They have lots of yellows and golds in them. You can see how I'm going to mix in some of that yellow and the gold in with that burnt sienna to just kind of blend them out and give a little variety. I've got a little blooming happening here, and that's right here. So what happens with blooming is that when you have water, it's happening right here too. When your water touches your pigment, it pushes it back. So I've got a little bit of that blooming happening here. I like it. I think that's what makes watercolor fun. A little bit of blooming. I'm going to let this dry, and I'm going to move down here. I'm going to come down here with a different brush. Hi, Linda. Hello again. I know we are on the fly, doing a little painting on the fly and a little bit of chatting. I'm also testing technology again. I know you were with me earlier today. I had a few little techie issues. I'm coming in with this brush that's a little more of a fine point. It's a number 3 brush. And I'm coming in with 100% full strength of my darker greens that I've got over here. Oopsie. And just kind of coming in and adding like some long stroke details to the stem. Yeah, digging it. All right. Just some details. Loving that. All right, while I'm painting this, I'm just going to do a little chat, just kind of give everybody a little bit of an update on some things that are going on and some things that are coming. Okay, if you're on my email list, and a lot of you are, because I recognize a lot of names, you're getting all this information in email, and you have been, and I try to email everybody at least once a week with some details. Kind of let that go. Hi, Kathy. What a treat, twice in one day. I know. Crazy sauce. I'm testing focus, and it looks like I have solved my focus issue. That's why we jumped in. So a couple things that are happening, back to the couple things that are happening this fall. I am definitely overworking that stem. I'm definitely overworking this. A couple things that are happening this fall. Many of you may or may not know, I have an online store. It's at indigojadeartshop.com. And I have been operating that store for quite some time. I sell my art prints, gifts, lots of different things. And I have decided to close the store. So I will be closing the store early November. I've been thinking about this for a while. I've been toying with this the entire year of 2023 here, figuring out what I wanted to do. Sales have been a little slow in the store. A lot of things have happened in the world. A lot of things have happened with the economy. A lot of the things that I sell, aren't as like a big priority for people in their budgets. So I totally get it. I also have had a lot of my products that I make in shops, like local shops or out-of-town shops, and things have kind of slowed in that retail arena for a while. So I've decided to kind of make a pivot. Now, I may be moving those products back to my Etsy shop. I do have an Etsy shop that I originally had started with. I'm adding a little bit of that color right there, and we're just going to take a clean brush and bring that down. So our darkest points are at the top and then lighter at the bottom. So that's one thing I'm thinking about doing. But the reasoning for the store is that there's a lot of overhead when you operate a business. There's overhead for when you operate an online business. There's overhead for not only your products or the things that you use to make your products, but there's overhead for the online platforms. There's a lot of different things related to managing the taxes, and it's getting costly. So I've been considering closing the store because sales have been slow for a while. So, but what I've noticed is a shift in what people, buying patterns, and also what people want to see more of from me. And, how many people we have here right now? Yeah, we have 17 people here right now. So unannounced, on the fly. So kind of cool. And what I've discovered is that you all really do enjoy the lives. You enjoy learning more from me, me teaching. And it seems to resonate with you more in that way. This particular online offering. So I have been thinking about this for a while. I'm really kind of trying to figure out if I like the way this is coming out. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to be closing the store. So in October, yeah, it'll be early October, I will be running a close the store sale. And I'm going to sell off a lot of things. And that includes a lot of things that I have in stock. I have a lot of hand-painted ornaments for the holiday season. I want this to be this top of the stem. We're going to go with some green gold here. I have a lot of hand-painted ornaments. I have a lot of stationery and gift items. I have some handmade. I have some of my original paintings that are going to be part of this. So I am going to run a sale, and it'll be like a holiday sale up into, I closed the store in November. So, and then I think what's going to happen is that we'll probably utilize the Etsy store that I have. I do have an Etsy shop that has some of the digital downloads, but I'll probably be putting some of the smaller goods or smaller priced goods over there on Etsy. And that would be some of the stationery items and stickers and some of the downloadable items, and probably put it over there. I don't really love the idea of going back to Etsy because of the fees and different things. However, I don't want to leave cold turkey and leave people like no option to make a purchase from me if they want to, because people still do. But, I am reducing expenses for overhead that's not, and pivoting and moving more towards, this really does not look good. Look what I'm going to do. I'm just going to kind of modify this a little bit. I'm not loving that. So look at how forgiving that was. Just literally modified it. And got rid of that detail that I put in there. And now I'm liking it. Okay. So, I feel as though like many of you know, I have an online classroom. It's at craftyourjoy.com. I also have a free online community there that I'm building and that I've been building all year long, and I'm continuing to build. So I am looking to expand and do more things within that community, my free community, and also a small, not a small, but a more affordable, on the affordable side priced community for some paid content. And that's what I'm thinking about. And that's probably not going to launch until the new year, because I know how I feel heading into the holiday season and the fall season. I usually feel like there's a lot coming at me. So I don't want to launch something brand new at all of you. I'm going to start fresh in the new year. So that's coming. And I'm really, really interested in taking like a little bit of a deeper dive with watercolor and some of the offerings that I can do that way. So those are some ideas that are coming. And I'm going to let this dry for a minute before I glaze over it. And while that's drying, we're going to play around with the background here. We're going to do a little washy background. So that's something that's coming with business. And I'm also looking at increasing the lives for YouTube, increasing the video content in YouTube. I have a lot of stamp sets coming out in the fall with Gina K. We have one every month, of course. So let's see, what color do I want to put in here? Do I want to do a little blue or yellow? Let me grab a little bit of the phthalo blue. Let's see if I can water that down. I want to get that. Phthalo blue is a very intense blue. It's very intense. It kind of skews a little on the turquoise side. I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm going to try to get this down to like a little bit of a wash here. Because look at it is intense, and it also stays where you put it. So you see how I don't have, it's not really moving a lot in the water because it's staying where I put it. Put a little bit of darker color right here. So these are some of the things that I've been working on for the Indigo Jade creative business. I'm also, many of you all know, I'm an illustrator for Gina K Designs. So that is a primary thing that I focus a lot of time on, and I'm in service to. And so that is something that isn't going to change. I'm still going to be an illustrator for Gina K Designs. I'm also a graphic designer and product designer illustrator for Scrapbook and Cards Today. So I'm so grateful for that opportunity to be in service and make an impact in our paper crafting community in that way. So grateful to Catherine. So grateful to Gina. Just love that I get to do this kind of work. And I'm going to be continuing to pour myself into that and the work that I do there. But the other stuff, the teaching and the content, I'm really looking to pivot and shift. So when you pivot and shift and you need to make changes in your business and your business model, something has to be let go. And the online store is the thing that's going to get let go. I'm kind of sad about it. I have held off so long on the concept of it because I was kind of sad about it. Like, I really had put a lot of time into developing product, like as a product designer for my own store, developing product, developing a stationery line, developing art prints and gifts. And what I found is that, yeah, people like to buy my art, but people seem to, and that'd be an interesting question to hear what you all think. People seem to like it better if I teach them how to do it, which is actually one of my like superpowers. Like, I love to paint, and I'm not a fine artist. I'm a commercial artist, graphic designer, but I love to paint, and I love to do like what I'm doing right now. But my like superpower really is showing you how to do it and letting you like experiment with the supplies that you have. And I'm also, because I got that like techie side of me that's pretty intense, I also like to nerd out and like really kind of explore everything that you possibly can, like with a medium, and then share that with you so that you have that knowledge and that you get to experiment too. I'm going to come in with a little napkin and just kind of tuck away and pull away some of that color, and it's picking up that texture from the paper towel, which is always fun. Like, look at that. You get that like mottled like look to it. I'm not really loving the colors that I did with the blooms, but we're going to just dry it real quick. And we're going to do a little glazing. Or something else. I have an idea. So one of the things, let me wait. Ouch. Nice. All right, so one of the things about this paper, though, that I want to, it does get kind of buckly, but that's okay. It is 100% cotton, but it isn't like an Arches or an Intense paper. So that's one thing, but that's okay. We're painting on the fly today. And I have an idea for this painting because I'm not really digging like the way it's coming out, but that's okay. I'm going to bring in some more mediums here and play. So let's see what we got. I just grabbed what's sitting on my desk. So this is all like rando kind of tools we got sitting here. And what I'm looking for is that, the Sketch and Wash. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Sketch and Wash. Okay, Robbie just shared something super sweet. Oh, I'm going to pop that up. And then Kathy followed up with a little, Robbie said, "You're an excellent teacher. I love learning from you. You have a way of breaking it down to basics so I can understand it." That's so cool. That is like totally my whole goal. And Kathy said, "I agree with Robbie. And I love it when you nerd out. So good, such good information to share." That's great. I love it when I nerd out. It's just kind of how my brain works. So, and how my brain kind of gets in there. So what you're hearing when I'm talking is literally stuff coming right off my brain in real time. No like super pre-planning. So first of all, digging the fact that we've got no focus issues like we did earlier. So that's a plus. Yeah, I'm digging that. All right, so this is a Sketch and Wash brush. No, Sketch and Wash pencil. And I've used this before, and it's basically like a charcoal pencil, and you could let it go as is, but it can also be activated and used as a paint. Excuse me, which I love. So, and I know in my online classroom at crafterjoy.com, I know I have a couple Sketch and Wash. We've used Sketch and Wash in some of the classes. Actually, it was part of a kit. So some of you here have also taken classes with me where I have provided and built kits, like kits with art supplies, kits with all the supplies you need for the class. And I have found that that has always been something that has been of value. People have really enjoyed that. I put a little Sketch and Wash in here, and now I'm just going to go in. My tip of my brush just needs a little bit of water. And what I'm trying to do here is just create a little bit of shadowing. So this painting is getting some more graphic detail added to it, just to kind of give it a little bit more of a 3D shape. And you know what? I can tend to overdo this, so I'm just going to take it easy and try not to overdo it. I don't want my darks to be too dark and my lights to kind of wash away. So that is the plan with the shop this fall. So if you're on my email list, you'll be getting a hefty discount for that as I close the shop. So, Cherie just shared, I love my kit. Yeah, I've done kits for several of the classes that are in my online classroom. Okay, so right now I'm just going to take this Sketch and Wash and I'm giving my petals some shape. And you could leave it like that, but we're going to give them some shape. So this painting is kind of going to turn into a little bit more of a graphic. It's going to have a little bit more of a graphic-like look to it. Now, in my online classroom, crafterjoy.com, I'm just adding a little bit of water. Ooh, that's pretty dark. I'm going to get some shadowing over on that side. I don't want it to be too much, but I just want to drop that in just enough. I'm going to come in and add a little more color. There's a couple classes in the in the online classroom. I think I have like 9 or 12 classes in there. I have some classes in there that are going to get retired, and they're older classes. I'm either going to retire them or I'm going to be adding more content to them. So we'll see. And making way for the new offerings that I have. So one of those offerings that I talked about just a few minutes ago was I'm calling it the Craft Your Joy Lab. Okay. It's not, I'm going to have a membership option. I'm going to have a pay-as-you-go option. And we're talking about super affordable. I think my top end price is going to be like $10 a month for specific content. And a come as you go kind of thing, come as you are, and kind of just see how I feel about it. So I'm still working out some of those details. But like the name of it is going to be Craft Your Joy Lab. And it's more of a membership or an online community in my classroom where I'm going to pour into you a little bit more. And it's seriously technique focused versus some of the other classes where we make bigger projects. So I'm going to have a technique library of a lot of watercolor techniques, like every watercolor technique. Right now, the libraries I've been building there's about 30 videos, short videos with watercolor techniques. Really small, broken down, like the way I break them down, the way I teach now. And they're going to be in there, and it's just kind of like all this wonderful content in there for you to access. And yeah, that's one of the plans. But the reason why I called it the Craft Your Joy Lab is because it's like lab experiments. It's sort of like the way I teach now, where everything live is kind of like an experiment, right? We have these kind of sense of how we think things are going to go. I don't pre-plan a lot of my lives. I have a sense of where things are going to go. And then I just kind of run with it and see what happens. So no worries, Catherine. This will be on the replay. Yep, everything will be on the replay for anybody who needs to go. I know, again, this is our random live, and we've been live for about 44 minutes. We're definitely going to keep this to an hour. Yeah, just a little chat about where we are with things, where I am with a few things in the business. So adding that black just kind of gave those petals a little bit more definition. It's definitely got this darker vibe going on, more than I would like it to, but that's okay. I'm going to take a little bit of the Sketch and Wash and go around the edges, these tips. Just get a little definition here. See what we get. And it looks like, for those of you who were with me earlier today, looks like I've solved the focus issue, friends. It's only taken me a couple weeks, right? But it looks like I've solved it. This is looking pretty good. The only issue I see right now is that the sun is out and it's kind of doing its thing. Let's get some of this burnt sienna. Come back in here. And it's coming in my side window here. Doing a little glazing here. Glazing is layering, so everything is dry, and I'm just adding like a layer of color over top. Love it. This isn't the best painting I've ever done, but it's fine. It's fine for what it is, for us being on the fly. Okay. I'm going to take a little bit more of my phthalo blue. I kind of got that out of the camera a little bit, but let's come in here a little more of that phthalo blue. And I'm just going to pop that right here. So just kind of sharing some of the things I've been thinking about with pivoting business and offering more online content to you and more teaching online, and really for the whole purpose of diving deeper into some of these concepts of watercolor, but really in the style that I like to do it, breaking it down, really breaking it down so you feel like you are accomplishing or getting to where it is that you want to use. Robbie just shared, I wish I could be in your earlier classes, but it's during my drive to work and it's frowned upon to watch videos while you're driving. It kind of is. I don't want you to do that. You always have the replay, friend. Always have the replay. So putting that color in there and just kind of doing that little bit of shadow, see how it just kind of elevates that painting a little bit? It brings it up. It gives it a little more pop off the page. Digging that. Let's come in here and just kind of do the same thing, like right around this arc. So that's kind of where I think things are headed as far as like what I feel like, how I can be in service to all of you in this community is in this teaching capacity. And so that's kind of where I was headed with a few things. And because I do quite a bit of product development, design and development for other people, I feel like that is where I'm being called to focus those skills of mine for other people. So closing my shop just seems like it's something I should do at this time. So that's just kind of how it feels. Loving the way that looks. I've got some blooms happening here. See that blooming? Where that's how that happens is the water is pushing that color back. Some people don't love that in their watercolor projects. I actually do. I think they want, like, I resist the urge to try to smooth that out. I really kind of like that. I'm loving the way that looks. Now what I'm going to do is just going to turn this upside down and come in with a little bit of the phthalo blue in some of these areas just to kind of pop. Just kind of pop this out a little bit. I'm kind of digging that. Robbie, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to your new ventures. Sad to lose one thing, but excited for new things. Yeah, me too. And I have had my online store for 7 years now. 7 years. And have poured a lot into it. But a lot of things have changed in the last 7 years. A lot of things have changed in the last 3, right? The world is a little bit different. And I feel like I can be in service to you all in a different way. But I would love to know, like, what you think. If there's things that you would like to see from me, things that excite you, that you'd like to see more of, I would love to hear from you. You can always email me. You can always just pop it in the chat, direct message, all the ways that you can get in touch with me. Everybody does different ways. I get a lot of emails. I get a lot of direct messages. I'm kind of like, I think we're just going to finish. We're just going to let this be. Not my best painting ever, but you know, we were doing this on the fly. I probably should have done it on some 100% cotton paper that could take a little bit more water. But for what we were doing here, it's pretty graphic. It's got that graphic look to it. It's got a little bit, it's a little darker than I would like my paintings to be. You know, I tend to want whimsical, high color, but that's okay. I'm digging it. I'm gonna pop back to our front camera. Hey friends. Okay. Thanks for sticking with me for almost an hour for this on the fly paint and chat. And yeah, there were so many of us here. I was pretty shocked that you all showed up. Thanks so much. And Kathy just shared something beautiful. Oh, that's so sweet. I'm gonna pop this up. While we're talking. She said, once you release the energy you spend on the store, your creativity will be limitless. That's so true. So like when you make a decision about anything in your life, like everything takes energy. Everything takes a part of you to manifest and be a part of and to execute. And when you make a decision to shift your energy into what your superpower is, and my superpower is teaching, designing, being in service to others in that way. I've always known that about me. So when you have things that are in your business or in your life that are need a lot of energy to really make them soar, and you are spread out, you're spreading your energy over other areas, you kind of have to make a decision. So that's kind of where my brain has been, and I've been working on that for months. Been thinking about it since last year and been working on the mechanics of it for months. And part of the mechanics of all of this was making a huge shift in technology, tech geek, getting new, making some investments in that part of my business, and making some investments in equipment that was going to help me help you feel like you're in the room with me. So painting and creating together. So super, super fun. All right, friends, this was a really fun paint and chat. Don't really love my painting, but doesn't look that great on this. Doesn't look that great on here because, you know, this camera is set up for something different. But I think it would make a really cute card. It actually looks, I'm just going to go to that down camera real quick because it looks like when I turned it upside down, this actually looks like a stamp that's already in my Gina K collection. So, you know, brain's always thinking. So, okay, friends, thanks so much for joining me. I will circle back to this post because Robbie and several of you have asked for the links to the palette and links to some of the supplies that I use. And I will absolutely do that after this live. I'll go back in and link that up, especially the palettes, because they are a economical porcelain palette find that you can get on Amazon from the Meaden product line. So, okay, friends, thanks so much. I will be going live next week with our next card making tutorial, paper crafting. Of course, watercolor will be involved, and I'll be using my new stamp set with Gina K. But if you are not a part of the community that I talked about at craftyourjoy.com, head on over there. Craftyourjoy.com, the community is free, and I post things there weekly, and I send out a special email to everyone who's a part of that community, highlighting the content that I put in there so that you haven't missed anything. So, okay, friends, thanks so much for joining me. I will see you next week. And yeah, let me know if you like this painting on the fly thing, because I kind of dig it. It's kind of fun. No planning. The paintings will get better. Maybe we'll paint a series of flowers together. That could be fun. Okay. All right, friends. Thanks so much. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.